Hello everyone, welcome to another video. So what I want to start doing now is, I want to start going through each of the texts in a bit more detail. So far a lot of my clips have been 2 minutes, 1 minute, 3 minutes. And a lot of you have requested that, come on sir, make it a little bit longer. It's a bit too short. So now I want to start targeting those longer videos. So 10 minutes, 15 minutes, looking at the text in a lot more detail. So I want to start off by going through Macbeth in this video. If you look at Macbeth Act 1, Scene 1, now people, if you have copies of Macbeth, you can follow me as I go along. Act 1, Scene 1 begins with thunder and lightning. Now this straight away creates a mood that something negative is about to happen. Thunder and lightning are not positive signs. Yeah, you don't associate thunder and lightning with happiness. You associate it with destruction and violence. So from the very beginning, we know that whatever is coming next is not a positive, there's not a positive thing. And who do we meet? Enter the three witches. The first witch says, "When shall we meet three again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?" Now a lot of people gloss over this quote. They say in thunder, lightning, or in rain. What's important here is this, that they are separating those three elements, in thunder, or in lightning, or in rain, which is bizarre because normally you get all three together. When it's thunder, normally it rains and normally there's lightning, but they are separating the elements. And it gives the witches an almost supernatural power from the very beginning, where they can almost control the weather, where they can determine what is supposed to happen. Now let's move on. When the hurly-burly is done, when the battle is lost and won, that's the first prophecy. People skip this as well. This is the first time the witches predict that there will be a battle, and that is when they will meet, when the battle is lost and won. And they're referring to Macbeth's and Banquo, the battle, where they are fighting against the Norwegians. Now I'm going to skip down a bit, and they decide, the second witch says, that we shall meet upon the heath. Now what is a heath? A heath is a barren piece of land. And why is that important? Link it back to context, AO3. The witches are not accepted in society. Nobody wants the witches around. Therefore the witches meet in very remote, very secluded places. And this again adds to this idea that the witches are not characters that are welcome. They are evil, they are secluded, and to become what they've become, they've had to almost abandon every human thing about them. And then the witches end the scene. Let me just go next, guys. And then the witches end the scene by talking about how fair is foul and foul is fair. This is an oxymoron. Good is bad and bad is good. They're speaking in riddles. And from the very beginning, guys, Act 1, Scene 1, the witches indicate that their moral compass is turned upside down. What me and you may perceive as good, they perceive as bad, and vice versa. So that is the gist of Act 1, Scene 1. Now, in Act 1, Scene 2, I'm not going to dwell upon it in too much detail, but King Duncan, he meets the captain of the battle, and he asks the captain, how is the battle going? Who's winning? Who's losing? And I want to pick upon a few of the important parts of this this scene. Now, he describes Macbeth in this scene, the captain does. And there's a very important line that I want to focus on. The first time he speaks about Macbeth, he describes Macbeth as, "For brave Macbeth." That's line 17, Act 1, Scene 2. Now, this is the first time we hear about Macbeth from the male characters, and they're describing as brave Macbeth. So from the very beginning, we realize that Macbeth is a noble character. He's a character who is strong, who is brave, who is courageous. He's the last person you'd expect to fall prey to the witches. And as that passage develops, it talks about how Macbeth unseamed the victims from the knave to the chaps. Now girls and guys, if you unseam something, you almost tear it into two. You bring it apart. So Macbeth is tearing something into two bits. Now what is he unseaming? He's unseaming a human body from the nape to the chaps, from the chin to the belly button. He's cutting them straight in half. Now yes, this does show that Macbeth is brave, that he's courageous, but guys, it shows that Macbeth is fighting to kill. He is fighting for his country, he's fighting for his king, and he's like a man possessed. At this point in the play, Macbeth is loyal, and Macbeth is probably the character who wears his loyalty on his sleeve. He is willing to die for his country. Now that's important because by Act 1, Scene 3, by Act 1, Scene 5, by Act 1, Scene 6, all of this is brought into question. Now let's carry on a bit. Let's jump to Act 1, Scene 3. So Act 1, Scene 1, Act 1, Scene 2, we meet the witches, we hear about Macbeth, and we hear a little bit about the battle, about how the Thane of Cawdor was a traitor, which is ironic because that's the same title that is given to Macbeth. And they do end up winning the battle. Now, what did the witches say in Act 1, Scene 1? That they will meet again when the battle is lost and won. And that is what they do. When the battle is won in Act 1, Scene 2, the witches then meet in Act 1, Scene 3. At this time, the witches meet with Macbeth and Banquo. Now let's slow down, because this is a very, very important scene. Let's start from the story that the first witch tells. She says, a sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap, and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I want thee, witch, the Rumfen Runyon cries. Her husband to Aleppo's gone, master of the tiger, but in a sieve I'll tip the sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do. Now this little piece by the first witch, it's not so much the story that's important, it's more the reaction of the witches, about how evil they are, how nasty they are. Just because a sailor's wife refused to give her chestnuts, she's casting a spell upon her. She's ruining her life because she did not get what she wants. Now this is clear foreshadowing. The witches, they play with human life. Yeah, they play with human life. They are evil characters. They are not there to just say prophecies. They are there to toy with people's life. And what do? They cast a spell, not on the lady, but more upon the husband. They ruin his sleep, that he'll never sleep again. He'll never rest. And all these things are signs that the witches know what it takes to hurt somebody. Can you imagine never sleeping? It'll kill you. I sleep about 8 hours a day, and even that's not enough. Now let's skip a little bit more to when Macbeth and Banquo enter. Now when Banquo first sees the witches, he says, so withered and wild in their attire. He says, what are these? So withered and wild in their attire. First thing, what are these? He's not referring to them as human beings or even as women. He's referring to them as a question mark. He's not sure what they are. And he's saying it to them right in front of them, which shows you the patriarchy of the society. He can say what he wants and get away with it. So withered. Something is withered, it's old and it's fading away. And wild. They don't look like human beings. They're almost like animals in their attire. Attire is their clothing. That look like the inhabitants of the earth, yet are on it. Sorry, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, yet are on it. They don't look like they belong on the earth. The witches have sacrificed every human quality about them. Live you, or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me. By each at once, her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips, her cracked finger, her disgusting fingers laying upon her skinny lips. Now I don't know about you guys, but the witches do not create a positive image in my head. They look ugly, they look old, they look withered. It's almost as though they're fading away. But Banquo doesn't stop there. He goes a bit more deeper. You should be women, implying that they don't look like women. Yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are so. The beards, they've got beards. Probably not mine, but they've probably got a bit of bum fluff all across their face. Now this links to Act 1, Scene 5, when Lady Macbeth says, unsex me here. It's implying that to become powerful in this society for a woman, she must give away all of her feminine qualities. Everything that makes her beautiful, everything that maybe makes her a woman, she gives it all away to become like this, like these witches. But Macbeth, from the very beginning, he wants them to talk to him. The first thing he says to them is, speak if you can, what are you? Even he reinforces the idea that these witches are not normal. These witches don't appear to be human. And they jump straight in. They ignore Macbeth and they jump straight into the prophecies. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. All hail Macbeth, that shall be king hereafter. Those were the three prophecies, and Macbeth is instantly captured by the witches. Banquo says to him, good sir, why do you start? Why are you shocked? Why are you so into their words and seem to fear things that sound so fair? And then Banquo goes on to say that Macbeth seems to be wrapped. Now, if you're wrapped, if you're wrapped, you're almost controlled. You can't break free. Imagine wrapping a present. Whatever's inside it is contained within the paper. And what is Macbeth wrapped by? He's wrapped by the words of the witches. This completely goes against this brave, courageous man. Since when does a brave, courageous man be wrapped, be controlled by witches, by women in a patriarchal society? Therefore, from the very beginning, Macbeth shows signs that he's a character who wants more. He's a character who is quite ambitious. And then Banquo says to the witches that if you can look into the future, then talk to me. Forget him, he seems to be under your control. Tell me about my future. And then they speak in riddles. They say to him that you will be lesser than Macbeth and greater. Not so happy, yet much happier. Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. They are prophesying that Banquo's lineage shall be kings. His son's son shall be king. But Banquo himself shall not. And then Macbeth said to the witches, "Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more." Tell me more, guys. Why would you want to know more if you don't believe in it? Why would you want to know more if you're not interested? Macbeth is interested, and Macbeth does want to know more. He is obsessed instantly by the prophecies. He wants to know as much as he can. By Sinel's death, I know I am Thane of Glamis. That was Macbeth's father. So Macbeth inherited the title of Glamis from his father. Now, the audience know that Macbeth is going to become Thane of Cawdor, but Macbeth doesn't know that. And therefore, he's not sure how he can become Thane of Cawdor. And becoming king, that's just crazy. He's not even thought that far ahead. And it ends by Macbeth saying, "Speak, I charge you. Speak, I command you." But the witches are not going to be controlled by nobody. And what do? They vanish. They've planted their seed. Now all they need to do is water it so it can grow. And the witches vanish. And it shows you that the witches do not be controlled. They control. And then Macbeth and Banquo speak about the prophecies. They speak about it in a quite light-hearted manner. And the scene, so Act 1, Scene 3 ends by Macbeth being told that he's Thane of Cawdor. And he's told that he's Thane of Cawdor instantly after the witches leave. Now this is the point you can make about structure. Look at the timing of that. If you want to make Macbeth believe the witches, he will believe in them even more, because as soon as they leave, he's told straight away that he is now Thane of Cawdor. He must be thinking, wow, these three women know exactly what they're talking about. Even for an audience, it increases the level of credibility for the witches. So that is your point about structure. And then I want to focus on one last thing at the end of the scene. Is Macbeth's aside on line 122. I'm going to start about 118. Glamis and Thane of Cawdor, the greatest is behind. Macbeth's ambition has begun to grow, has begun to almost fester inside him. He's already thinking about the greatest title is still behind. What is that? The king. He's become Thane of Cawdor just now, and he's already thinking about his next step. And then the scene almost comes to an end. Let me just check if there's anything else that I want to mention. Let's talk about, just before Macbeth ends, how Macbeth talks about the witches and the prophecies. He says how they make his seated heart knock at his ribs. They make his seated heart knock at his ribs. That's line 138 to line 139, line 140. And why is that important? It's important because it shows two things. His heart's knocking at his ribs. His heart's beating really fast. He's nervous, or he's really, really afraid, or he's really, really excited. Now use that quote depending on the kind of question you get in your exam. But whatever we say, it appears that Macbeth is really, really excited. Something has tickled his fancy. And what is it? it's the idea of becoming king. And that's where Act 1, Scene 3 comes to an end. There's a little bit after that, but I don't want to focus on that. Now, girls and guys, Act 1, Scene 1, Act 1, Scene 2, Act 1, Scene 3. So much happens in those 3 scenes, and things are moving really, really quickly. Now, that's your link to structure. That things move quick, they give credibility to the witches, but at the same time, they reinforce the idea that this is a play. Now, that was a brief kind of run through of Act 1, Scene 1 to 3. My next video, I want to focus on Act 1, Scene 5. Now, if you want me to cover any particular topics in future videos, drop a comment below, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for watching.